The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Today we are at the Montana Governor's Conference. It is the 55th annual and we are in Billings, and we're going to be speaking to Dr. Marcia Getting, and we're going to talk all about Montana medical savings accounts and how they can be used as an incredibly important tool, not only for you but for your children's future. So make sure you stay tuned to Aging Horizons because we have some really wonderful information coming up for you today.
You've probably seen some big-name celebrities on your TV lately talking about all the Medicare benefits you're missing out on. But the insurance companies who are paying for these ads may be pushing benefits not available in Montana. Fortunately, help is available from a friendly state health insurance assistance program counselor who can help you sort it all out. It's free, and we screen everyone for eligibility regardless of your zip code. It's Montanans helping Montanans. Call today.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Hey caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
We love to get outdoors, so if we have any free time, that's pretty much where you can find us.
Bailey Tolson, East Helena.
We love to hike. Any chance we get, we're out there. And of course, there's always date night.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it. To learn if you're eligible, call 1-800-224-6034.
We love date night.
A decade of Montana fourth graders on Energy Share. Not having enough heat in the winter can feel like you're at the mercy of the elements. Energy Share will help keep your family safe and warm even in the coldest weather. Montanans are always ready to lend a hand for our neighbors. No one deserves to be cold in the winter. Like Caitlin Perkins says, Energy Share is like love filling the air. Energy Share is not a government program. It's neighbors helping neighbors who face energy emergencies the Montana way. Call or visit our website today. No fear, Energy Share is here.
Welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Katie Lovell, and today we are at the 55th Annual Governor's Conference on Aging here in Billings, Montana, and we're going to be speaking with Dr. Marcia Getting all about Montana medical savings accounts. Marcia, thank you so much for being with us today. I think these are such an important tool for families, for everyone to really know about. So tell me, from the very basic part, what is a Montana medical savings account?
Well, we're very excited about these accounts because it allows you to set aside $4,500 this year, 2024, and you can do that all the way up to December. But I think what we need to do is first clarify, because a lot of people have called me thinking that MSAs, last year was the last year. Sure. And no, what happened is the legislature said, we're going to fund this again, or, say it's okay, and they've made it permanent. So all of us that, and who doesn't have some sort of medical bill, can set aside this $4,500, and it also provides a tax break. And what that means is you get to take $4,500 off your income. Now that's for a single individual. Sure. But if you're married, you can have two. But the thing is, you need to have his account and her account.
Sure.
Okay, so you call them a medical care savings account. It's not something that your local bank would say, oh, this is something special we have. It's a regular savings account that you categorize it as an MSA.
Okay.
So you don't have to put in the $4,500 total. If you're in a situation where you can only have $3,000 in, sure, that's okay. And the whole idea then is, as you have medical expenses, you would take it out as you need it. At the same time, there are people that say, but I didn't know about this. Yeah, in my program the other day. I said, it's still okay. You've got medical expenses since January.
Sure.
You can still open up your MSA now and just add them all up at the end of the year. Now, some people like to withdraw every time they have an expense. Sure. To me, that doesn't work. I travel too much, and some people, you got little kids, you're a caregiver, you don't have time to do that. Sure. So just add them all up, keep a folder, put those bills in there, and just make sure that you withdraw. Preferably by the 31st, but you do have until January the 15th to withdraw the money.
Now, do you have to put all of the money in at one time, or can you put it in throughout the year?
You can put it in throughout the year. As a matter of fact, I've gone so far to suggest an idea to some families, hey, Mom and Dad, could I borrow $4,500? Sure. Put it in, and they have that much in expenses, so they take it back out, and they can pay back Mom and Dad. And I talked about how it can be a legacy. Let's say you don't use it. Yeah. You put a payable on death designation on it. It goes to your parents, your kids, your spouse, and they can use it as their own MSA.
Wonderful.
And it's not taxable as income then. So, but if I left it to you, you would have to pay taxes on it.
That makes sense. So it has to be a direct lineal descendant.
That's true, except for the parents. That goes up the tree.
Yeah.
The kids go down the tree. And it's a great program. We've had it since 1977. But every year I hear people, why didn't you tell us about these?
Never heard of this before.
Well, it's out there. Sure. And so we've got a Mont Guide, ta-da, from MSU Extension. Okay. And in that Mont Guide, we provide additional information about Montana medical care savings accounts.
Wonderful.
Now, you can have this even if you have a flexible spending plan, if you have a health care savings account. See, that's the federal one. Sure. And remember, this is Montana, so you can only subtract out from your Montana income.
Sure, that makes sense.
And look at what things are available. Eyeglasses, contact lens, hearing aids, any kind of medical expense that the feds accept in publication 502.
Okay.
That's the publication. And Montana says, we'll accept anything that the feds accept. So if you've got diabetes and you need insulation, your doctor's bills, you sometimes have to put down a 20% and then, work it out with insurance later.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, you can count that. And so there's so many things for people to take advantage of this that I strongly encourage them to do that, because maybe we'll talk next about taxes and how much would you be able to save by opening one of these accounts.
So I think I heard you right that you can have this in addition to your FHSA or your health care savings account.
Yes, I had people argue with me on that. And see, this is a Montana-only plan. You don't get to subtract it from the feds.
Sure.
So the feds have their rules on their accounts, and we're the state of Montana, and we have the rules on our Montana medical care savings account.
That is so wonderful, especially for families that end up having lots of additional medical expenses each year.
Yeah, and even myself, I had a bad neck at one time, and what I had was an FSA. I used that up. Sure. So then I was able to use my MSA and still do the physical therapy. And so that's another way that you can use your Montana medical care savings account money.
That is wonderful. When we look at that account, you said we can put it in. I know I do my FHSA at work. I put it in monthly. Can I do that with my Montana account too?
Sure, you can do it any way that works for you. And that's the benefit of that.
That is amazing. I want to ask you about, so you said both spouses can have their own account, and then they just have to make sure that the medical expenses are for that spouse, correct?
No, you can use it for either one. So let's say you had a especially bad year.
Okay.
Well, we can take your husband's and yours and just spend it on you, or we can take that and also have it for one kid.
That is amazing.
It's a great
especially
program.
for those years where you just have that bad medical luck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, make sure you stay tuned because we have so much more information about these medical savings accounts that you are really going to want to know, and we're going to talk about taxes next, which is all of our favorite subjects. So make sure you stay tuned to today's Aging Horizons.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline 800-272-3900 for guidance and support.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Today, class, we'll be discussing the term ombudsman, a word we borrowed from the Swedes and never gave back. Say you're a resident or you have a loved one in long-term care. Now, what do you do if you're not happy with the care and services you receive? You call your long-term care ombudsman, of course. Your ombudsman is available to support you and your rights. An advocate on your behalf could be the ticket. This is your home. If you have questions, the numbers right there below me have all the answers. Class dismissed.
I was angry and upset when the doctor told me I have diabetes. I just didn't want to deal with it, the needles and the diet restrictions. But after I started to learn about it, those feelings changed. I was at risk for a heart attack caused by high blood sugar. That got my attention. I started watching my diet and making sure I got enough exercise every day. I want to be around for my grandkids, and now that I know what to do, it seems like a small price to pay.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. Today we are at the 55th Annual Governor's Conference on Aging in Billings, Montana, and we are speaking with Dr. Marcia Getting all about medical savings accounts here in Montana. Marcia, thank you so much for clarifying these wonderful programs because they are just so important for families. Right before we went to break, I asked you about using medical expenses for just the individual that the account is for, and you clarified that that's not true. You can use it for your spouse or for your kids. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
I'm going to go one step higher than that because the legislature passed a statute that allows us to use our MSA for anyone.
Wow.
What that means is, let's say I've been building mine up since 1997, and I've really got a nice little pot there.
Sure.
So if let's say you got cancer, and I go, oh, that's really too bad. I have this money here in my MSA, and I want to pay your bills. Then you let me know, the hospital or whatever it is, and I write that check directly to that healthcare provider.
Sure.
And ta-da, I've covered you. Wouldn't that be nice?
What an amazing
And I'm
deal.
just amazed that they allowed us to do that for anybody. So we've got that information in the Mont Guide, and there may be your cousin out there. There may be an aunt that could benefit from your MSA because you've been putting that money in for a long time. So you see, that's it. You put in $4,500. You don't even have to use it.
Wow.
And then next year you come in and put in another $4,500. So you build it up through time. And of course the idea is when we're older, and research shows we usually have more medical expenses then. So we could use that MSA to help us with the expenses at that point.
What a wonderful idea, especially if you know next year you might need hearing aids or something like that that's going to cost more than that for $4,500. That's an amazing...
Yeah, some of us are looking at cataract surgery.
Sure.
And, our insurance stuff just doesn't cover everything anymore.
Yes.
And so we can use that to do our copay, really just any kind of thing that's eligible. And again, that publication 502, it's the IRS. So you can just go online, put in a search, and publication 502, and there it is for you.
Oh, that is amazing. So, Marcia, tell me a little bit about the tax implications of having one of these accounts.
Okay, sometimes I can get people to open it just because they want to lower their taxes.
Sure.
Okay, so let's put $4,500 in. Let's say you do that. Well, if you're making more than $41,000 a year, you're in what we call the 5.9% bracket.
Okay.
So we take 5.9% times the $4,500 you put in there, and you are going to save $265.50.
Wow.
Now, for some people that's not a big deal. But most of the people that I deal with, hey, I enjoy saving $265.50.
That's a week's worth of groceries.
Yeah, and so husband does one too.
Sure.
And so then we've got $531 that we have saved in taxes. Mm-hmm. And we could, put that aside and say that's going to be our special pot for doing something else.
Sure.
And we can always find a reason to spend that money.
Absolutely.
Especially young families. Sure. My goodness, you've got kids that get sick and what have you. So the tax break on that is really helpful. And it's easy to do on your taxes. They have a form. You have your Form 2, and then there's just a little section like this, and it says, what did you put in, what did you take out? And remember, it's not what you take out that you're saving on taxes, it's what you deposited. So you have that, and I suggest people just keep a folder.
Sure.
And keep that folder there just in case you were audited, because you don't have to outline every one of those expenses when you do your taxes.
Sure.
Yeah, what a hassle. You've just already kept this sheet of paper, you have it totaled, and I think mine's really going to come to a big one this year. But I just think it's an exciting thing for people that have those medical expenses, and the fact that we can use it for the kids, aunts, uncles, anybody that you care about and want to help with medical expenses. And why not save $265.50?
Exactly.
And for husband and wife, you can do that. And a kid, here's an idea. Let's say you've got a kid that's 18 years old.
Sure.
That kid is now working.
Yeah.
That's where he learns about taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're a nice grandma, what you might do is give that kid $4,500 and say, I hope you'll put this in a Montana Medical Savings Account.
Yeah.
Well, that is going to subtract $4,500 off his taxes. And he's going to love grandma for the $4,500 as well as the amount that he's going to save on, or he or she's going to save on taxes.
Well, and how many of us at 18 saved money for medical expenses? Because we're all, bulletproof at that age.
Oh, yeah. You think you're going to live forever. You're not going to have anything happen to you. But I have had grandmas do that. Just from the perspective, I give him the money. I strongly suggest that he do such and so. And I'm going to watch and see if he does.
Absolutely.
Because it might make a difference in how I leave part of my estate.
Sure.
It's a test.
Sure,
the kids should know it's a test.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Marcia, we get $4,500 for our whole lifetime. We only get to put it in once, or do we get to do it annually?
Annually, every year. 45. And you're building it up. So when that emergency does occur,
sure.
I broke a tooth, and I just thought, it wouldn't cost that much.
Yeah.
$3,600 later,
Yep.
I have a crown and different kinds of things, and thank goodness for an MSA, so I can take it right out of there.
And you're not going to pay taxes on the money that you take out. You're not going to get a tax ding on that.
No, that's
so good.
the great thing, and it's just a nice little buffer for families to have.
Absolutely.
So even if you've got plenty, take $4,500 in, and you build it up and put a POD on it, and you've got a legacy.
And we were going to pay those medical expenses either way, so we might as well get a tax break on them.
Sure, why not? The legislature did it, so let's take advantage of it.
Exactly. All right, thank you so much for staying tuned. We've got one more segment. We're going to talk a little bit more about these medical savings accounts and answer all those questions. So I hope you're already getting ready to fill one of those out, because you need to do it. So stay tuned to Aging Horizons.
I was outside working on some equipment, nothing too strenuous. I started sweating and feeling out of breath.
When he felt pressure in his chest and aching in his arms, I knew we had to call 911.
First responders were there before we knew it. 38 minutes later, the doctors had restored the blood flow to my heart.
Now we know dialing 911 saved his life.
Your life is on the line.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
I take care of my wife at home. When I found out training was available, I said, sign me up. It's made a huge difference.
When my husband was injured at work, it was life-altering. The classes taught me that it's okay to grieve, to ask for help, and to better cope as a caregiver.
My dad lives 4 hours away, and the Powerful Tools classes taught me that it's okay to ask for help. I highly recommend them.
To find out about this course for caregivers, go to powerfultoolsforcaregivers.org.
It's amazing the difference a little training can make.
Out here, we love our animals, from the wildlife to the livestock. Inside, it's the same. They're just like family. We keep them happy and healthy, most of the time. Secondhand smoke puts pets at risk for cancer, feline lymphoma, vomiting, increases the risk of tumors and lung cancer, even causes eye and skin disease. Secondhand smoke puts your pet's life at risk.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
Welcome to Aging Horizons. Today we are at the 55th Annual Governor's Conference on Aging here in Billings, Montana, and we are speaking with Dr. Marcia Giddings. She's been telling us all about the wonderful Montana medical savings accounts, which are so important. I hope you've already called your bank instead to set one up. So, Marcia, thank you so much for telling us about these. When you mentioned that you had a Mont Guide about them, tell me a little bit about what is a Mont Guide?
Well, that's our fancy term with Montana State University Extension, and it's a fact sheet.
Okay.
And we are really famous for doing fact sheets. You know, we want to make sure that people out there in Montana know about MSAs.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, I'm rather embarrassed. When those first came about, I hadn't even heard about them, and I had a person come up at one of my estate planning meetings, and she said, "What do you think about these MSAs?" And I go, "What MSA?" So sometimes it's clientele out there that help me learn, oh, what do we need a Mont Guide on? So I have, believe it or not, 50 Mont Guides in the estate planning area alone. And what we do with these is talk about probate. What do you need to know? Okay. We have one on what are the personal representative responsibilities.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say, I will be a personal representative for my mom, what do I need to know? What kinds of things to do with that? And I travel and I discover people don't know that we no longer have a Montana inheritance tax. And then I get people that are so excited about the federal estate tax. They are so worried. Do you know how much you can have this year and not pay a federal estate tax?
I know it's a lot more than you think it's going to be.
Yeah, it is. $13,610,000.
Wow.
$610,000.
I wish
That's
that
for
was
a single
my problem.
Yeah, don't we all? We could what we could do with that money. So I don't want people to get concerned about estate taxes. Sure, there's some people out there that are going to and they've got help. They've got attorneys, they've got CPAs to give them a help. They're probably not going to come to one of my meetings. But the neat thing is, once you get that relief that, I don't have to worry about the federal tax, I don't have to worry about the estate tax, inheritance tax. So it allows me to move into another area about step-up in basis or carry-over basis. Now, the reason I do that is I have moms out there that have gone to a coffee klatch and they're saying, I'm having trouble managing my money, whatever. And they say, put your daughter's name on it. Or, put your daughter's name on the house. And I go, no, wait a minute here. If you bought a house, for example, in Bozeman, Montana, in 1977, you might have paid $47,000 for it. Okay. I put your name on there. That's what you have as a basis. So I give it to you, and then you decide to sell it later, and maybe it's $700,000 now.
Easily.
So you're going to pay a capital gain tax between the $47,000 and the $700,000. Whereas if I'm grandma and I don't give it to you, I don't put your name on it, I die, you inherit my house. At $700,000. What happens is the basis goes from that 47 all the way up to $700,000. You sell it, no capital gain, no inheritance tax, no federal estate tax. So I've got a Mont Guide out there on carryover and step-up in basis, because I think what's going to happen, Congress is going to be dealing with that next year, because we have a sunset on this federal estate tax thing, and it may go back to $5 million. Still not a problem for me. You know, we both work for the same, right? Not a problem. But we do need to be aware of some of those. And so property title is another thing. How do you have your property titled? That is the most important thing for determining where it goes. So I can write a will, I could leave the property to you. But if I have it in joint tenancy with my husband, and I write a will, people think that because the will was written later, it's going to go to you. No, we got contract law. Contract law says it goes to my hubby. Yeah. So the other thing we could do, how about a transfer on death deed for real property? We've got a Mont Guide on that one. Okay, and I just thought about, you mentioned MSAs. We can POD, but it could be in something other than the bank. It could be in the credit union. It could be mutual funds. And mutual funds, what we can do is put a TOD. It's a TOD, Todd, transfer on death registration. Okay. So you can still get it without probate. So people don't want to have probate, and they think, I need a trust. Well, yeah, a trust has some benefits, but we have revocable, got a Mont Guide on that one. We've got one on testamentary. What is a testamentary trust? Well, when you die, you can say, I want all my assets to go into this trust, and I want part of it to go to charity or a nonprofit, like the 4-H Foundation. Okay. We could even leave it to the Governor's Conference on Aging. Wonderful. That would help. So we have lots and lots. And these are your taxpayer dollars at work. Wonderful. These Mont Guides. When I was younger, I made the mistake of saying they were free. And I had a nice lady point out to me that no, young lady, I was younger then, these are not free. These are our taxpayer dollars at work. And so I've been saying that ever since.
Marsha, one of the things that I love about the Mont Guide so much is that they are really written for anyone to understand. You don't have to be an attorney or a doctor to understand what they mean, and that is such a benefit of the Mont Guides.
Well, that's what I try to do, and that's why I have ordinary people serve as reviewers. Now, I also want to make sure I'm saying correct things law-wise. So there's a group in the State Bar of Montana, they call themselves BETTR, B-E-T-T-R, but these are the ones that deal with estate planning, and so I can make sure it's accurate.
Wonderful. Make sure that you check out those Mont Guides. There is one for everything you can think of, and if there isn't one that you're looking for, contact Dr. Getting, because she's always looking for new ones. Make sure you check out those Montana Medical Savings accounts, because they can save you a ton and help you with those medical expenses. And thank you for staying tuned to Aging Horizons.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.